Hello everyone! Today, as you may have guessed, we're here to talk about Muzan. Kibutsuji. Fuck you. So, one of my absolute favorite villains in modern anime, Muzan, don't you fucking do it, Kibutsuji. Now, you may just outright understand a few reasons as to why this man is an absolutely amazing to see villain, but for those uncultured few who fail to see it, or worse, haven't seen Demon Slayer, criminals, I'll be sure to lay out for you just what makes him so great in this video. Speaking of whether or not you have seen Demon Slayer, there are spoilers ahead. However, this channel focuses mostly on anime topics, so don't worry about manga spoilers here. We're not those kind of people. We will discuss some anime on the channel eventually, but if you're looking for more to fill that colorless void, be sure to check out Eddie Hates Anime's channel. That's more his thing. And while we're at it, I think this is a good spot to get you to smash that like button faster than Zenitsu would Nezuko if given the chance. And of course, subscribe. We all know he'd do it. Now, I'll try to give you the benefit of the doubt, and assume you didn't just skip 10 seconds ahead. I see you. Anyway, our prize boy Tanjiro here, the loving and noble... My script says soup. My script says soup! Our prize boy Tanjiro here, the loving and noble soul that he is, has been met with his complete and polar opposite, that being the cold, calculating Kibutsuji. And no, I'm not just saying that as an excuse to reference our beloved Tanjiro. It is actually a relevant plot point. I know, scary in a shonen, isn't it? But it's apparent that Muzan is everything Tanjiro isn't, or at least refuses to become. Yes, I say refuses, which may be important later. Think about it. What are Tanjiro's main character traits? Well, as mentioned before, he's very caring and wants to save whoever he can. He tries to stay pure of heart and keep his kindness, humbleness, and positive way of thinking, despite what Demon Slayer's unforgiving world throws at him. The first demon, however, is the embodiment of everything that goes against that. He is the ultimate screw you. Instead of being someone who wants to save everyone, he believes everyone is expendable and isn't worth saving. I mean, just think about the fate of the lower moons. You remember how hyped up they were, and how powerful one was when we finally met him? Just how powerful they all were, and what a challenge they'd be for Tanjiro? No? Me either. Probably because they all last about 5 minutes of screen time, save for that really sadistic spider/furry kid. Tough way to get laid off. More than that, in that sequence, what does Muzan do? Does he simply kill them all? Does he lose his temper and slay them in a fit of rage? It could seem that way, but no, he doesn't. It's all part of his cold and calculating nature. Everything he's said is to plant fear into the lower moons, and see how all of them react. He appears to kill them off in a random order, or in the order of whoever notices him first. However, that also isn't the case. After he states his order for them to allow themselves to be slain immediately, he ends up killing whoever tries to escape that order first. Whether it's thinking a way around it, trying to escape outright, or even pleading for mercy, it doesn't matter to our white-gloved friend over here. And that's because all of those things are forms of insubordination. He gave them a direct order, despite how cruel it seemed, and they were all trying not to follow it. All but one. one passes the test. That one demon who's not only willing, but excited to die for their master, especially by his hand. So instead, Muzan, gives them some of his blood to turn them into a more powerful upper moon. And if this wasn't the case, then why not just make all of the lower moons more powerful? I mean, why wouldn't you want more soldiers rather than less? Well, if they are willing after defeat to question and turn on the man they've literally sworn loyalty to in his presence, who's to say they wouldn't have done the exact same thing, even faster, had they been compromised in the battlefield? At this point, making them more powerful would be pointless if they would rebel whenever they had a problem with orders. At this point, they're just a liability, so only the loyal were made stronger. And while this scenario does showcase a lot of Kibutsuji's coldness, as well as tactical prowess, or is it strategic prowess? I don't know. Apparently there's a difference. But it also shows some of his weak points, like his inability to trust. This is pointed towards in numerous moments when dealing with the lower moons. I mean, the whole test of loyalty he set up proved that even though they were already high in his ranks, he didn't trust any of them. And with what happened after, we can see why he thinks this way. They all fail. Some definitely wouldn't have by the average person's standards, those respectfully questioning their deaths or who begged for their lives, but to him, it's treason all the same. Because he's not only untrusting, but, a little paranoid. Just sprinkle a little paranoia on that Kibutsuji souffle. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. But anyways, I know this is a lot of information at once, so let's back up a bit. We've discussed how our best boy Tanjiro, don't shoot me for that statement, it's not the point, and our mastermind Kibutsuji are meant to be polar opposites. Save for a few similarities, so you start comparing the two, right? No, that wasn't just a random thing I brought up, never to be mentioned again. I'm not Araki. I'm sorry, Araki, please tell David Productions to animate part 6. But JoJo's aside, at the end of the day, Tanjiro trusts his friends. Even Inosuke, even though he 2 days after he was beating the shit out of Zenitsu and tried to kill his sister. Cool guy. And I mean, just look at him. If he's anything, it's clearly not paranoid. However, Kibutsuji is paranoid enough that he literally fills his lackeys with curses to prevent them from breathing a way he doesn't approve of. And Loki just overrides them with his blood whenever he suspects something. He also kind of takes everything as a, someone's after my power, and that is the only time you will ever see any emotion from him. Anger at that person who's quote-unquote trying to overthrow him or start immunity or some shiz in his mind. And we don't even see that too long. Because he, murders them. Very cool. If the lower moon scene I've referred to only 80 times by now wasn't enough to show that, the scene in the alleyway definitely does. I mean, these drunkards bump into him, and in a fit of drunken anger for being bumped, start saying he looks somewhat unhealthy? Very aggressive. It's bullying. We don't condone that in these schools. So then, he just murders them, and has this whole speech about how he is not weak or unhealthy in any way, and how he's close to perfection, and all that power stuff that villains like to go on about. Well, it's actually more of a rant. His demeanor for once changes just a bit from that constantly calm and collected mastermind to just pissed off killer. If you notice, those are the only deaths he causes in the entire show that don't serve a very specific purpose. Also, just a quick parallel. While I love Tanjiro, he's definitely not the sharpest tool in the shed. Granted, he's no Inosuke, but to say the least, definitely relies more on his heart and soul rather than his mind. Kibutsuji has neither of those things and only relies on his mind. Well, his mind and his power. In summary, Kibutsuji has genius-level intellect. I'm not exactly sure what warrants genius-level intellect, but he's probably there. For 90% of the show, at least the first season, he was pretty much a ghost or a legend to our main characters, and almost nobody knew anything about him, and had it not been for Fido over here, they never would have. Now, every demon in Demon Slayer has a traumatic and sad backstory, for the most part, I think. I'm just gonna say for the most part, because I didn't check to make sure every single one did, and I have no plans to. Fight me. But all pertaining to why they are the way they are now. Why they're demons, why they're evil, blah 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 blah. Their cat died or something and they were sad about it, so they were like, I'm gonna be a devil. Anyway, if anything so far has anything to do with it, I believe in his earlier days he was either betrayed somehow, lost trust in others, and felt absolute power was the only way to live, or he just kind of felt as if everyone was below him because of his immense power. I don't know, we'll see. I could be completely wrong. I, like Tanjiro, am also not the sharpest knife in the kitchen. I am but a humble demon, just trying to stay smarter than Inosuke. That, my patience, is my character analysis on Kibutsuji Muzan. My first character analysis ever, so be sure to let me know if you like these and want more. Who do you want that to be? And of course, I'd ask for anything I missed, but if you think I missed anything, as the internet, I'm sure you'll let me know. It feels weird not asking the normal YouTuber thing, but I did that earlier, so please do it if you haven't already, because you love me. As always, thanks a ton for watching. The doc is out. Have a fantastic day.